I've been wanting to make this video for ages to talk to you about why ranty videos go viral, why they're the ones that usually take off like wildfire. And I didn't know why I'd been sitting on it, but today this other part of it came to me, and it was actually after having a conversation with somebody recently about anger, and I feel like the two need to go together. So, why do ranty videos go viral? Because we're addicted to drama. All of us. All of us. So we get fed a reasonably steady diet of drama from the time we are born. We get programmed for it to be normal, right? Drama, conflict is normal in the programming that we are exposed to in the way the world has been and still currently is. And we start to become addicted to it. So, then this is why they run the news the way they do. This is why a current affairs program's turned into, shite like a current affair in Today Tonight. From, real journalism turned into clickbait and drama and conflict. And if there wasn't enough of it, they just made it up because we needed a steady diet of it. Once we got addicted to it, once we got used to it, we wanted it. That's the stuff we wanted more of, right? And so they'll inject a good dose of drama and conflict into everything, into singing competition shows, into cooking shows, you name it, it will have it, cartoons, kids, it doesn't matter. So when someone does a ranty video, and I'm not taking away from the message, and I'm not saying that they're any way in the wrong, but this is why ranty videos go viral. What happens when we keep feeding that is that we allow the agenda to continue, right? This is a lot of the manipulation of us, a lot of the manipulation of our creative power occurs through our emotions, by harnessing our emotions. And because the powers that were on this planet that are dying, they're dying, right? It's okay. The light is taking over. There's no doubt about that. But however, in the death throes, they're going to up it even more because they want that power. So here's what I would love you to recognize. I would love you to recognize where in you are you still feeding that into the system, right? So just become aware. Become aware where you're more likely to click on something. Become aware where you get drawn into the conflict. So I'm not saying don't listen to the message. I'm not saying start unfollowing anybody that's, inclined to be ranty or whatever, or occasionally does. It doesn't, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just become conscious where you feed the conflict by your reaction. Not even necessarily by watching it, but you might want to unplug. Certainly this is why many thousands, hundreds and thousands, hopefully millions have disconnected from mainstream media. It's the drama and the conflict. It's the feeding you that. So where does anger come into play with this? So talking with somebody the other day about anger, and we were having a laugh because I used to be I can't even say I used to be an angry person because I still have a reasonably healthy, actually, and it never was, and that's the difference. I have a healthy access to anger, stream of anger. What the difference is, and a lot of you are feeling angry at the moment, a lot of people are tapping into anger, the collective. That can be good for a short period of time if it makes you proactive, if it gets you to recognize that something is unacceptable, if it gets you to, change your own behavior or, see how toxic or unhealthy something has been, then that anger is healthy. However, the thing with anger is it's not sustainable. It's exhausting. And in order to keep feeding it, you need to keep igniting that conflict that initially brought it on, or remembering I've got to remind myself I'm angry with her because I forgot there for a minute. So I better remind myself. So I better replay what she said to me that made me really angry. Okay, we all do that. So that's where anger moves from being a fueling source and just one of the emotions as vital as all the emotions to actually being an emotion that actually brings your vibration and your energy and your vitality down. It's exhausting, takes a lot to sustain it. When you stay stuck in it too, what it does is it shuts you down. All right, so anger closes your mind. You're not able to see the bigger picture. You're not able to see somebody else's side. You don't have access to your higher, wiser self, right? You're stuck in ego and you become stuck in it. And that's where a lot of people are right now. And that is something that they want us stuck in because that is something they can truly harness, right? So what you need to remember is that the lower energies, the lower vibrations, the darker forces, the whatever you want to call them, it really doesn't matter, whatever resonates with your vocabulary, they do not have the power to create the way we do. So they poke us and trigger us and get the right kind of wound in, and do the right programming to spark the emotion they want. And then they harness that. Please begin to consciously move through your day knowing that your emotions are a very powerful guidance and creative source for you. But when you're not in charge of them, when they can be triggered so easily from the outside, when they can be manipulated so easily from the outside, when you can go from joy to anger in a heartbeat, you are at the mercy of the outside world. You are not in control of your life. You are not in freedom. You are not a sovereign being. You are a puppet to somebody else, right? So it's time for us to become conscious of that. It's time for us to really become conscious of, is this ranty video actually somebody sharing genuine emotion, or is it intended to spark that from me? Because both sides, the narrative of both sides are manipulated. Have no doubt of that. They are manipulating all narratives to keep us angry and in conflict and in fear. This is the source they feed on. And whilst we give them that source, unconsciously, subconsciously, or even because we feel like, I don't have power if I'm not in my anger. I don't have power if I'm not fighting the system. If I don't remain frightened of that, I'll be a victim to it. If that's the way you're thinking, that's all coming from ego. That's all coming from ego. That's the way ego thinks. I'll do another video on that. I'm going to start talking more about ego again, really explaining to you what it is and how to use it as a guide. But if they're the thoughts running through your mind, then you are still feeding the very system that you are trying to move out of, trying to rise above. The very thing that we are dismantling, the very structures that no longer work, that we're now recognizing how toxic they are, how much they've used us, how much they've manipulated us. We feed that through our own addiction to conflict. So today, start looking at, where are you addicted to conflict? Where do you go searching for it? How often do you scroll through the comment section of something that you know will annoy you? Are you watching mainstream media just to hear what the idiots are saying? Do you read a post that does not resonate with you at all, but you go through the comment section to see what the sheeple are doing? What are the idiots saying? How stupid are people? And you spark that in you every time you do. Just to keep that going. You are feeding them. You are feeding them. You may as well invite them to your house for a 3-course dinner. And with your anger, honor it, respect it, feel it. I'm going to do a whole nother video on anger too, because that's its own, how much we've been taught that it's wrong. We've been taught it's wrong because it is a powerful force. It is a powerful force, but not if you're not in control of it. Not if they can trigger it continuously from the outside, or anybody can trigger it. Then it's being used to manipulate you. All right, so be conscious of how you're feeding conflict. Start to recognize that it's the ranty videos that go viral. You know, the shock jocks and all of those kinds of voices. And start to become conscious of your anger. Honor it. Start by honoring it and finding ways to express it and move through it, because when you stay stuck in it, that's where the issues start and you actually start losing power. All right, much love.